Hey, this is Steve with Dabble Lab, and this is the first episode in a new series called Dabbling with Experts, where I'm joined by an industry expert who's going to teach us something awesome relating to building bots and digital assistants. And today we're going to learn from Jan König, who is the co-founder and CEO of Jovo. Jan, thanks so much for sharing your time and expertise today. Before we jump right into it, can you tell us a little bit about Jovo and what you're going to be showing us?
For sure. Yeah, thanks a lot. So, Jovo is the first open source framework that lets you build apps for both. We started it was late 2017 when we launched Jovo. It's completely open source, so we have a great community that helps build out framework, build out our other tools that are surrounding it. And we just launched version 2 of the framework, which we're super excited about. It's way more easily to extend. It's really way more powerful with a lot of integrations. And today I'm going to show you how to build a very simple project with Jovo v2.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to it. So you're gonna share your desktop and jump into it then, right?
Yes. So if you want to learn more about Jovo, you can find Jovo at www.jovo.tech. And what we're going to do is just quickly create a new Jovo project with the Jovo CLI, which are our command line tools that make it easier to develop stuff with Jovo. And we're just going to build a very simple Hello World app and test it locally and then deploy it to Amazon Alexa to get started with that. And so to download our CLI, you can find instructions, install it with npm install -g Jovo CLI. And so I'm just going to go into the terminal and do that sudo npm install -g, install it globally, and then Jovo CLI. Now I need to type in my password. And so this will update to either install the Jovo CLI or update to the latest version. And so this will probably take a while depending on your internet connections. I can walk you through the next steps as well.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah. So you can create a new Jovo project just by typing in Jovo new once it's ready. So let's see how we are doing here. And so it's still installing it. And so we will create a new Jovo project. Then I will walk you through the folder structure for a new Jovo project. And then run the development server, which makes it easier to develop locally, and then show you the Jovo debugger, which is a little tool that helps you debug locally, have a more visual interface to see how your app is doing. And then after that, we can look into modifying the app logic or deploy the build to the Alexa platform.
Okay, cool. While it's installing,
it's still loading.
If it's still installing, maybe we can talk about like what are some of the highlights that the V2 version has over the V1 version? What are some of the notable updates?
Yeah, happy to show you. So one thing that we're super excited about, and I'm going to quickly open up our migration guide from V1 as well, and so you can find that here. And so what we're super excited about is some of our integrations. So Jovo is now way more modular, so it's completely rewritten architecture. It's now written in TypeScript. Everything is a plugin, so it's now way easier to extend. We have a lot of integrations. So for example, and I can show you our tutorials as well in a bit. So we have a lot of new integrations for databases. So we added integrations to MySQL, to MongoDB. We have a new hosting integration, so you can now host it on either Google Cloud Functions, AWS Lambda, which already worked, Microsoft Azure, and Docker, and so on, and also CMS integrations. So that's actually my favorite new feature of Jovo version 2 is how easy it is to plug into new content management systems. So the first one, just going to search for it here. So the first one is Google Sheets. So and I have a video about that in our channel. And so Google Sheets, we sometimes in our internal projects, we used Google Sheets as a content management system to make it easier for people to update content, manage content, and so on. And so, but this was always quite a hassle to install if you wanted to do it yourself. And so we added a very simple integration that lets you use Google Spreadsheets for storing your responses, content, and so on. So that's one of the things that I like to allow people back to work together, not just developers, but also work with designers and content managers.
Oh, that's super cool.
Please go back to.
So can you plug into any backend, like on the CMS part? Could anybody develop a plugin to say like we've used Airtable quite a bit as the backend. So could we develop a plugin to make it as easy to use Airtable as Google Sheets or some other CMS backend?
Yes, for sure. So Airtable is actually already in the works. So this will be our second integration. So let me.
Even better.
So in our CMS integrations, right now we only have. So Airtable is preferred by many people because it has a little cleaner interface, a few better options to like work with arrays and stuff like that. And so right now we only support Google Sheets, but Airtable is on the list for the next few weeks.
Nice.
Okay. You want me to go to the terminal?
Yeah. Is it all installed? Are we ready to roll on that?
Yes. Okay, let's do that. So we can create a new Jovo project. So you can see Jovo CLI version 2.0.4 is installed. We can create a new project by using Jovo new, and that will create a new project with the name Dabble app. And this will also this will create a new project, download the Hello World template, and I can open a new terminal window and open that up in my code editor. So I'm just typing in code dot to open it in Visual Studio Code. Okay. So as you can see here, this is my this is a new project of Jovo version 2. So we have a models folder here, which has a language model. So Jovo offers a Jovo language model, which is an abstraction of language models for both Alexa and Google Assistant or Dialogflow. And so you only have to maintain and update your language model once, and we can then use the Jovo CLI to translate that into both an Alexa skill interaction model and a Dialogflow agent for your Google Action. And very simple language model, the hello world intent, and the my name is intent. And then we have our app logic, which is the filter. So this is based off layer gets hosted on AWS Lambda, for example. And here we have an app.js file. And so this app.js file has all your logic in it right now. So there's some initialization being done, and you can already see that Jovo Framework version 2 is more modular. So everything here is a plugin that is then passed to the app object with the use method. And then we have the app logic. And this is very simple. So when someone launches the skill, it's redirected to the hello world intent. We have an ask method, so it asks the user for their name, and then with a reprompt, please tell me your name. And then if user answers with their name, we're just greeting them and telling them that it's nice to meet them. And that's it. So this is a very simple app object. And we can already run that and execute that with using the method Jovo run. So previously you would have to upload that stuff to AWS Lambda and create your Alexa skill and so on and test that. And we developed a local server, which is a webhook, which makes it easy to get started. So So you can also see we work with a local database, which makes it easier for local development as well. And here's the webhook URL. So we create that. So every user, every computer gets their own unique webhook URL, and that can be used as an endpoint in your Alexa skill project, so that you don't have to upload stuff to Lambda all the time. So if I go back to the browser and like copy that webhook URL and load it in my browser, so then you can see that it's connected here to the right, and so and that's the Jovo debugger. And so, for example, I can really test the interaction right here. So I have a launch screen, and then my name is intent already loaded here, and so I can type in launch, and then it asks me for the name, and then I can answer with my name. So I can say Steve, for example, and then it says, "Hey, Steve, nice to meet you." And so this is how easy it is without even having to care about deploying to Alexa or Google Assistant to test if the logic of the skill or so there aren't actual, like, no natural language understanding being done. So these are just files, running them against our local development server, and that's it. So if I look at the terminal, you can see that requests are logged here and so on. And so it was really our app doing the answering and so on. So I could
got it. So it's
just update that code as
like testing the VUI or the interaction model locally. That's really cool. So it looks like you're testing the interaction model here. In what cases would you need to deploy to like test the NLU or the natural language understanding versus stuff that you would test locally?
Mm-hmm. So what we're doing locally is really just testing the logic. For example, if I click on launch, it just creates this JSON file automatically. So it's not really testing the interaction model. It just creates a launch request JSON and then and sends that to my webhook. And so it's not really testing the interaction model. For this, I would still need to go and test on an actual device.
Gotcha.
If the NLU is really working. And we can actually do that. So I can show you how we can do that right now. So if I go back to my Jovo project, we have a Jovo project.js file. This is a very simple file for project configuration. So here we have right now a Jovo project consists of an Alexa skill and a Google action, and then an endpoint, which is my unique Jovo webhook URL. And so I don't need the Google action right now, so I can just comment that out. And so what this project.js file is needed for is Jovo the Jovo language model right now is an abstraction layer, so we need a build command to create an Alexa interaction model or a Google Action interaction model out of the Jovo language model to then deploy it to the platforms. And so we use the Jovo build command for this. So the Jovo build command looks into the project.js file, looks which platform to build, and then does that. And so I can just go here. Go type in Jovo build. Oh, I forgot to go into this project and then use Jovo build. Okay, so what this just did, it created a platforms folder, which you can see here. And this is an Alexa skill folder. So if you're used to building stuff with the Ask SDK and Ask CLI, you can see that we now have a skill.json file. We have a models file. So this is the translated interaction model with the same hello world intent, and my name is intent, and then some Alexa specific intents. And that's it. And
this is very cool. So I remember at the Voice Summit last year, we were talking a little bit, and the idea of like a transpiler to go from one language model to another. It looks like that's what you're doing. This is pretty awesome. Is there a way to transpile to some other format, like Cortana, for example?
Right now, everything is happening in the Jovo CLI, and so we are, as we speak, we are working on plugging that out, the Jovo model part, to make it easier for other people to extend. So that was also part of version 2 of Jovo, was to make the CLI more modular as well. And so we now have an Alexa model part and a Dialogflow model part and so on. It needs a little bit more work to be able to extend it with more platforms, but that's the goal. That other people
that's
can use it.
That's a great goal. Yeah. So it'd be kind of like have you used Yeoman? So kind of Yeoman for voice platforms, or that would be awesome, with a common interaction model that would let you write it once and generate interaction models for whatever platform you decide you want to work with.
And also when you're building with Alexa, you need to use mostly the Alexa NLU. And so that the built-in interaction model, which you can also see here, it's just called Alexa instead of like what Microsoft has for Cortana with Microsoft Lewis. We have Dialogflow and stuff like that. But if you're not building for Alexa, but for other platforms, then it's quite relevant to see which of the NLU tools work for my language model. So we want to make it easy for people to try out different services and then benchmark what works better with their existing data set, for example.
That's great. And then in those cases, I would assume maybe that you would have like some pass-through mechanism, so that if you chose to use one NLU over another, you could still support the different channels or different platforms.
That's definitely something that we're working on. That's what we're super excited about to see how people are going to use this and so on.
This is great. And is there like parity with things like right now the Alexa presentation language is the popular hot topic. I'm sure this is probably something that you guys are working on right now, or maybe too soon to announce. I don't know, but is that something that's supported currently?
So we created a tutorial about how to use the Alexa presentation language with Jovo. It's a few weeks old, but it shows them how to get started. So we have a template as well that people can use and download and try out different APL templates.
Awesome. This is
cool.
This is great stuff. It's come a long way. I did a tutorial on Jovo. I can't remember when, but I think it's like
it was pre-version 1 of Jovo, I think. It's a long time ago. I think maybe it was in January 2018 or so a year ago.
Yeah, wow. It's come a long way. This is really awesome. You guys have done a fantastic job. So
let me show you one more thing. So, right now, when I showed you the Jovo debugger, it was only just clicking buttons and so on. So there's not a lot of magic there. But what we noticed when we tested Alexa skills, for example, on a device, that is sometimes when like someone of your team has built something and then you're testing it, and then you somewhere in the fourth turn of your interaction, something goes wrong, for example, you get an error message, and it's super difficult to like sift through all the logs to see like what went wrong and so on. So the whole debugging experience is quite difficult when you're really like having to test on a device, having to test like different steps and so on. And so this is all the Jovo debugger. So let me quickly deploy my project to Alexa to test it really on a device. And I'm going to use, so Jovo uses the Ask CLI for that. Let's clear this up. And so I can just deploy this project. So this platforms project for Alexa that I just created with the Jovo build command, I can deploy this to Alexa. And so I'm going to use the Ask Profile Jovo because that's our English speaking account. So don't get confused if I add some options. And this is going to deploy the platforms folders, everything that is in this folder here, this Alexa skill folder. This is going to deploy this to my Alexa developer platform. And this is probably also going to take some time as well. And so I'm just going to deploy this. I have an Echo spot here, and let me see. So this might take a while. So
that's using the Ask CLI, correct?
Yeah. That's using the Ask CLI. We are working on updating this, but here you can see, yeah. So just create the skill name Dabble app, the skill ID. What I usually do is I copy the skill ID. So it just has the invocation name, my test app, and which is defined here. I'm usually just copying the skill ID and then adding it to my project.js file here. So I can just, so later when like more than one person is working on this project and they have different skill IDs and so on, we can define different stages and so on, but we're not going to do this now. But that just makes it easiest later to stay organized. And so that's it. It's enabled for testing. So let's see if it works. So so Jovo run is already enabled. And let's see. And so I'm not doing anything in the Jovo debugger now. Alexa, open my test app.
Hello world. What's your name?
My name is Chan.
Hey Chan. Nice to meet you.
So we usually just have the Jovo debugger running in our browser while testing on the device. And so when something goes wrong, we can click through these interactions and see, okay, what was written into the database, what was written into the session attributes and so on, how did the JSONs look like and so on. And also it's good to, okay, so I said John, but it really said Jan, for example. So stuff like that, it makes it easier to test this. Yeah, and so that's it. So we just deployed this Alexa skill to Alexa. We've run the code locally, tested it on a device, used the Jovo debugger. But that's really just the beginning. And then afterwards, with our staging environments that we have and some other deployments and hosting integrations, that's where the fun really starts.
Yeah, this is super cool. I can't wait to dig in and start dabbling some more with a lot of the V2 updates. So before we wrap up, can you let everybody know how they can learn more? I know you've got some tutorials on your site, and you'll be doing some tutorials for the Dabble Lab channel. That's the rumor. Is that
true? That is true. So starting, I think with this episode, we're going to do a Jovo Wednesday, every Wednesday on Dabble Lab, and doing one tutorial every week, and just to helping people get started with Jovo, building Alexa skills, Google Actions, and so on, diving into this. And then also, if you want to learn more about Jovo, you can find courses on jovo.tech/courses. We have a lot of tutorials as well. We're pretty proud of our docs, so we always try to keep them organized and up to date. And yeah, you can also feel free to join our Slack channel as well at jovo.tech/Slack.
Awesome, and we'll leave all of those links in the notes, the video description notes for this as well. Well, hey, Jan, again, I really appreciate you taking the time out and sharing this with us. This is really awesome. And for everybody watching it, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those, and we'll make sure to get your questions covered. And let us know. This format is completely new, and Jan was the very brave first person to try it out. So thanks again for that. But let us know what you thought. If this is helpful, or if there's something that we can do to make it better, please let us know. And with that, we will sign off and say thanks so much for watching.
Thanks for having me. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye. See you. Thanks, Sean.